So in the latest update of Common Sense for Common Sense people, Kick, the new popular streaming platform, has cracked down on their moderation of sexual content and hot tub streams. Might have to beep out sexual because I said it in the first 30 seconds, said it twice. Don't do me like that, YouTube. So everyone knew this was coming. This is the most common sense thing in the world. They tweeted this out. Starting today, we'll be increasing the moderation on nudity and sexual content on the platform. This primarily affects the pools, hot tubs and bikini section. No underwear, lingerie, pasties, whatever pronunciation. Swimwear and bikinis are allowed. No sexual activities for subs or money, e.g. twerk, etc. Please avoid trying to push the boundaries on these rules. We'll likely update them in accordance with how receptive people are. This change is in accordance with rules set forth by Apple's App Store. We appreciate your understanding. Now, obviously, this was going to happen, and there's some really fucking stupid people in the comment section saying things like, as you can see here, yep, and this is how Kick is brought down to Twitch's level. Eventually, the increased sub payouts will come to once Kick can't keep up with costs. Kick already can't keep up with costs because they don't own any technology other than their app, their front-facing stuff, all of their back-end from all sources. I've spoken to a Twitch employee that's been discussing this. They're using Twitch's own fucking infrastructure for their entire back-end. All of the things that you see on Kick that are being served to you, all of the video streaming, it's all ran through Amazon, using the technology that Amazon essentially have been using Twitch staff for since they bought it to create. That's why you've not seen a ton of changes on Twitch as a forward-facing person, consumer using the platform, because they were building out the package to essentially sell Twitch's entire technology stack to other companies. That's what Kick's using. So if Twitch already isn't profitable as a business, using their own technology, using servers, AWS, that Amazon owns, subsidized costs, and taking a 50-50 split and having a massive ad network compared to, for instance, what Kick would have. Obviously, Kick's not going to be making money. Not now, not fucking ever. The only reason it can exist is because they're making money from people gambling, which is the people who own the platform, the people who own stake.com, a crypto gambling platform. So anybody saying this has simply not done enough research to have an opinion on the matter. And obviously, if they want Kick to be taken seriously, there's a couple things that they've got to do. One, get rid of anybody doing things that are going to make the platform get under any kind of scrutiny from mainstream media, politicians, App Store, if they're obviously going to be running an app, which is a really big deal. Because if you're going to be running an app, you want it on Google's Play Store, you want it on Apple's Play Store. And if you want it on those, you can't have people, men or women, but predominantly this was a problem for women. Some of the streams I've seen on there, man, it's even saying borderline pornography would be wrong. It was straight pornography. I'm talking you could see everything. Give me 10 subs and I will literally gape my ass. Not quite that far. I shouldn't use the word literally there. But they were working for 10 subs and you could see everything. You were invited to the dinner, essentially. So that's obviously not going to be allowed on an app that children can download in the App Store, is it? That's fucking common sense. And anyone who thought that they were going to operate without rules just simply isn't engaging with reality whatsoever. This, as well as a lot of other changes, are going to come to Kick. The good thing about Kick is right now you can earn more money, because obviously the sub split is 95-5 as opposed to 50-50 on Twitch. But the really huge thing is the moderation is more fair than Twitch because they're not fully corporate yet. But anybody who knows anything about business knows that if Kick wants to be taken seriously as a platform and as a business and grow as a business and operate on its own without needing that, money kickback from the gambling, knows that eventually they've got to do all this stuff. You won't be able to stream copyrighted stuff because they need to adhere to fair harbour laws, otherwise they literally get shut down because they're hosting without complying with DMCAs for copyright. You can't have people shaking their ass for money with kids on the platform. Literally can't do that unless you put it behind an age-gated section. And if you do, you won't ever be able to get ads, because nobody's going to want to advertise on your platform, anybody with any sizable amount of money anyway in consumer base. You can't be racist on there, you can't be transphobic, you can't be any of these things, because all it takes is for somebody to send clips of people doing this, like a large body of work of people doing this, to one media outlet, And the website just gets dragged and potentially even shut down for essentially being a hub for all the isms and the phobias. So you can even see the headline here, Kick is burning money paying for Twitch's streaming service from Amazon. Yeah. And then ex-Twitch engineer explained Kick's Amazon setup. Subsidizing Twitch by paying to use the Twitch video system via AWS. I mean, yes, I too think IVS is the best video system for this use case, but paying 8 to 10 times the cost is not a sustainable growth plan. I didn't know it was 8 to 10 times. I'd not seen this number. So what's funny is that for Kick to succeed, they have to pay Amazon and make Twitch continue to succeed, which is just hilarious. Because this puts you in a position whereby it's impossible to say now that Kick existing has to go in the same vein as Twitch. They have to go in the same direction eventually. And we all knew this was going to be the case. It's just in business, and this is how it works for almost everything in the world. There's going to be one of two things that happens. One, you have an idealist. You have somebody who is the figurehead of the company, and it's not a publicly traded company, of course, because then it wouldn't matter. You need a figurehead that is an idealist that just has a set of values that they won't compromise on regardless, full stop. Someone similar to Gabe Newell for Valve. Valve do a lot of shady shit, right, with the loot boxes and things like that. But I think it's hard to argue that Valve as a business hasn't pushed for innovation and don't do a lot of good stuff for, PC gaming and technology in general. And that's because Gabe is really into certain things like this. And it'll always be a question mark of what happens to Valve after Gabe's gone. The other thing that's going to happen is the business eventually becomes what the other businesses were. If it's publicly traded or if people are in it for profit, they either sell the company out to other people that eventually want to, milk it for more, or it goes public and obviously you've got a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders to make as much money as possible, which means you're going to do the things that make the money. Or, of course, to maintain business viability, you have to toe the line and do the same things the other businesses are doing because that's the commonly accepted practice. And if you don't do the things that those companies are doing, advertisers, users, consumers go to them, and then your business doesn't work. These are things that generally happens. It's why you'll see indie companies eventually get too big for their boots. They start selling a bunch of stock, and then they change completely, and they aren't as consumer-friendly as they used to be. There's a million examples of this, and it's just life. That's just how it is. So for Kick to ever operate as a real business, this all has to happen, and it will eventually, if it gets big enough, be as bad as Twitch on some things. Maybe on the gambling thing they won't be because owned by a gambling company. But how long do people ignore that if it gets big enough as regulators? Who knows? Probably not all too long if it gets as big as Twitch is, because that's one of the reasons Twitch likely did what they did with banning slots and things like that anyway. Now, again, the one good thing that Kick has going for it that people are ignoring because they want to see people shake their ass or whatever and say all the bad words and be all the bad things because, my freedom of speech or whatever. Fuck the snowflakes, of course. Let's all just be hateful towards people for no reason just because they're trying to live their life, because that's always cool. What people are ignoring is that, at least on Kick, if you make a mistake right now, if you accidentally show something that you probably shouldn't have shown, or you accidentally say something that, that could be taken out of context or whatever, Kick's probably not going to ban you. Whereas Twitch probably will. And then if you get permabanned for it, unless you're one of the biggest creators, and even then you might get permabanned still, you're probably just going to lose your career. So that's the good thing about Kick right now. Whether they're losing money or not makes fuck all difference to you. If you can get on the platform and make, good money while you can and build an audience, etc. on a fledgling platform. But yeah, shit like this is just super obvious that it was always going to happen. And this is going to be the first of many announcements, or at least behind the scenes rule changes, where Kick becomes more in line with what Twitch has done, because they do it for a reason. So anyone thinking this was going to be the Wild West and you could just do whatever you want, I don't know what platform it was you were looking for, but it's definitely not going to be this one, at least going forward. The only thing you can hope is that Kick maintain with someone like Trainwreck's in a prominent position, that they don't fuck with creators too much and let them actually do what they're going to do without being corporate oppressive and not looking at context and being inconsistent in moderation, which is the biggest problem with Twitch, aside from the fact that they take half your money. But there we go. That's the Kick thing, and yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out.